Welcome back. Last sessions we have completed our microservice basic series, and by this time we know what are the basic component of a microservice. Now in today's session we shall see how two microservices can communicate with each other using synchronous communication. So one microservice will call another microservice and get the response from that other microservice to do its job. So let's assume that we have one microservice called credit card application. In this, customer will send a request to apply for a credit card. Now, this microservice, before approving this application, it will call another microservice called credit card rating, and during this call it will make a REST call. So it will make a REST call and it will pass, say we take some some unique ID number or social security number or anything of the customer, say customer ID number. So based on this customer ID number, credit card rating application will return some rating, say between say some number, say between 1 to 10, some number it will return to this credit card application. Now based on that, if this rating is greater than 5, credit card application will tell that your application is approved. Otherwise it will send a message that if rating is greater than 5, credit card application will tell your credit card application is approved. If it is less than 5, then it will tell that your application is rejected. So this is what we shall build. Here we just take the customer ID number and based on that we'll generate a random number and send it back. We are not focusing much on the business logic, but we shall focus on this part, this REST call, and how we can do the inter microservice REST communication. For this purpose, there are many options for that, but in our case, we shall do this with REST template. Okay. So there are other options to use web client and all. We shall cover those things in upcoming videos. So let's start the coding. So let's create a new project. I am creating from IntelliJ, but you can do the same thing from start.spring.io also. So let's give it a name. Say its name is credit card apply. I keep some locations and I give it codetechies dot credit card applications and JDK 11. Now I go next. From here I took Lombok, DevTools and Spring Web. I think that's fine for us, and let's create this project. So the first project is created. So this credit card application. Now let's add a controller so that it should take request from the user or take a credit card application. So for this purpose, let me go here in the main Java and okay, let it resolve this dependencies first. Let me wait some time. Okay, now let's create a new package called controller, and here we create a new Java class called credit card controller, and let's quickly do it. If you followed my earlier videos, please pause it and try to create this controller on your own. At least what are annotations you need to add before controller and all. Otherwise, I'm doing it here. So at the rate rest controller we have added, and now let's do one thing. We need a service class. So let's write private, say, credit card service, credit card service, and let's create this class credit card service. We create it in a separate package called service. Okay, and here we give it @service all argument constructor. That's fine. Now we come here and we add the annotation, or I think instead of using all argument constructor, I prefer to create the constructor on my own. That gives us a better control, actually, whatever dependencies this class need and all this. So I did this one. Now let me create a post mapping, and within this I can give apply credit card. Let's write it this method, say public response entity, and what we can just should return a string. Let's not make much more complicated this one, and apply credit card, and here we give request body, and we need to give credit card request. I just give credit card request. Now credit card request is not there, so let me create it. I create it in a class called DDO. Okay, so I created this credit card. Now let me do one thing. Let me complete this credit card. So let me quickly go, and here I give all argument constructor, and here I give few things: private string final first name, then private final string first name, and I give this one as last name, and second one I am giving just say social ID number. Say I give it social ID number. So let's come here. This is very much fine for us now. Now let's complete our controller. Quickly we'll write some simple code. So here we'll do a check if null equal to credit card request, then we return response entity dot bad request dot say body, and here we can give please provide applicant details. something like that we keep. And if it is not, then what we'll do, we shall call the customers, call the credit card service. So let's do it. We'll call credit card service dot say apply credit card, and there we'll first send the credit card request. Now this particular method is not there, so let's create the method. It is created, and let it return an integer. No, it should return a string. Basically I just want to say a card is approved or not. So let's keep it like that, and we shall implement it. Return. As of now, let me keep it null, so compiler will not complain anything. And that's it. Let's take this one in a variable response equal to credit card response, and what we can do, response entity dot okay dot body, and we give response. So up to this is fine. So why it is complaining? Missing return statement, of course. Return. That's it. Now let's go and focus on our controller, in our service class. So let's go to our service, and in this service we need few things. We need a REST template. We need to add something like REST template so that I can, so why I need to add REST template? Because this application, this microservice needs to call another microservice. It's a REST call, so we need a REST template. So let's do it here. We defined private final REST template. So when we do REST template, we need to declare a bean of REST template. So what I mean to say, just we go to the package. Let me create a config class quickly, and within this config class, just say I create a new Java class, credit card config, and annotate this one @configuration, and within this class I need to write a bean. So public, this bean should return REST template, and we give it as REST template. You can give any name, does not matter, and but return new REST template. That's it. Let's keep it very simple. Now we come to the credit card service, and let's start writing our credit card service. So we see what we can write. REST template, and obviously since we did this one, we will do a constructor based argument, generate constructor. So that's it. I don't remove this all argument. It's better, it will give me a better control that auto errors private final @service. Okay, it is showing some error. So let's see why this. I think it is basically it is telling that no beans of REST template ability is not found. But here I have declare this one. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake here. That's a blunder. It's a bin. Yeah, that's the thing we need to go. And now you can see there is no error on that. Now before that, let's go to our, let me delete these two things. These are not needed. Delete repeater rename, and here we do few things. The server.port, let's give it 8001, and we keep the URL for this. So let's say we shall make this one. So this one is running in port 8001, and we shall run this one in 8002. So now since this one needs to call, the credit card application needs to call credit card rating, so its URL, let's put it here. So we give it say credit dot, sorry, not dot, credit dot rating dot URL, and we give it http localhost 800. Let's keep it like that, http localhost 8002. And now we go to our controller and add this URL, service controller, and we add this URL as @value, and within this we need to do dollar. And what is the property name we have given? We have given it credit dot rating dot URL. So this one, this is our URL. So let's put, I just tell you one important thing here. Say you are trying to run your application, and due to whatsoever reason this property you have not added in your application.yml, then your application will fail to start. To avoid these things, we can give a default one here. So we can actually give some default value. So in case this property is not defined here, it will take the default value. In our case, let me take this one only. But make a note of it. When you do a real-time applications, please try to put a default value. Then even if due to some reason this property is not there, still your application will start. So just make a note of that. Now let's start writing our application. So what shall we do? First we need to make a REST call. And how we'll do REST. There are multiple ways to do it. I am just showing the simple one. Once we become familiar, I shall go to in subsequent videos I shall show other options also, how to use REST template. I shall show you how to use web client and all these things. So now okay, I have not completed this one, so let me do it. Private string, so I give credit rating URL. So that should be fine. So what it will call, say credit rating URL. So it will give localhost 80802 up to this. Now we need to give an endpoint, and let's give our endpoint. If you remember in our microservice sessions, I showed you the Swagger and how to write Swagger documentation and all these things, so that we know what are the endpoints we need to call. So those things will come very handy here. Okay, so but here let me do this one. I just tell that get credit, assume that this here there is an endpoint called, what is this endpoint, say there is an endpoint, it has exposed an endpoint called get credit rating, which this application needs to call. So let's do this one, get credit rating, and here we need to we'll just pass a path parameter. So let's do one thing, credit card request dot credit card request dot sorry, I have not given getter. Argument constructor at the rate getter at the rate setter. That's it. We come here and I am giving get social ID number. Okay, and what we will expect, what I am expecting, it should return an integer of type integer. So I just give integer dot class. This is what we need to do, and this response we set here rating. So basically, just let me break it down. Basically, we are sending a REST request hitting the URL http localhost 8002 / get credit card rating, and we are passing a path parameter of social security number, this one, and we are expecting that this REST call will return us an integer, and this integer we are capturing here. Now here just let me write a log also. So log for j, and here we give log.info, and here let me give rating is, and we just put comma rating, and here we do one thing. So here we see if rating greater than or equal to 5, then let's return approved, and else we return rejected. That's it. That's our controller. Now controller will get this value and it will work. Now, and let me see, anything is left out, and in this controller it looks fine. Now let's quickly go to our terminal, and I shall show you how to write test cases for this class using wiremock and all in separate session, but now we skip this test and let me run this application. Enable annotations, that's fine. So our application is already started, but it's a post request, so we cannot test in browser, and we have not written Swagger. So I shall test it with Postman. Let me take Postman, and first we see whether I am getting approved or not and all, but it will not work. This application will not work because this REST call will fail. This part will fail, so we will not get any response. But I shall don't save. Let me create a new HTTP request, and here I give, it will be a post request localhost 8001. Sorry, I need to give it HTTP /, what is my endpoint? My endpoint is apply credit card, so let me give apply credit card, and here in the body I need to give text JSON. And what is this? Let me see this particular class. First name, let's give first name, gonna say Amit. Next one is last name, say we put it data, and what is this one? Say an ID number. Just assume that this is a unique number associated with this person. So 1, 2, 3, 4 I have given. That's it. And now let me send. Yes, I am getting an internal server error, and this, you see, this particular thing is not there. Connection refused. So basically we are able to make a REST call, but since this application, what is this? Let's see it here. It is a connection refused, and this connection refused is coming because this URL, this application is not, we have not yet written. So up to this, our credit card, apply credit card application is fine. Now we need to develop our credit card rating application. So credit card application is fine. It is trying to make this REST call, but since this is down, so we are not getting a response here. So we shall start writing our credit card rating application now. So we start building our credit card rating application. For that, let's go and create a new project. We keep the project name as credit rating and change the group name to codetechies. Select the Java 11. Next. And we quickly choose our dependencies. It is Lombok, Web Tools, DevTools, and Spring Boot. That's the dependencies we need. Let me close the help readme file and start creating our necessary files and packages. Let's delete these two, static and template. These are not needed for us, and rename the application.properties as application.yml. So it should not be uppercase, it should be lowercase. Hector rename application.yml. Yeah. And within this, we give our port number. Server.port, it should be 8002. So this is the port which we are trying to reach from the credit card, apply credit card application. So give it 8002. Now let's create a new package called controller. And within this, we create a new Java class, say credit rating controller. quickly declare this one at the rate rest controller, and let me give SLF4J also, and then let me try to create the mapping. So it will be a get mapping. So let's do it. Get mapping. And what will be the mapping? Let's go to our previous project and see which water type call. It is a get credit rating. So this is where the Swagger documentation will come handy. So let's cover this Swagger documentation I covered in our microservice sessions. So please go back to these videos if you have any doubt. And in this we are not going to Swagger documentation, and after this credit rating URL we need to pass a path variable, and what is this path variable is the social number. So this is what we need to keep in our credit rating. So this is we are given the ID number. So this is what should be our mapping. Now, oops, sorry, I need to give this one method name. So let's give it public. It will return an integer, and let's give this name as provide credit, say customer rating. And within this we take this path variable and we give it string, and what is this name? ID number. So let's give the ID number, and then basically we just here we shall not write much logic. We just send a random number between 1 to 10. So let's do it. Max equal to 10, and we take minimum equal to 1, and then we return new random. New random, and next integer dot next integer, and we are giving max minus min plus min. So it will generate a random number between 1 to 10, and this is what we shall return. So this is what we need to return. So we are ready with our credit card rating application. Basically it will just take the ID number and return a random integer, but we can write any logic here. We are not focusing much on the logic, but our focus is inter microservice communication. And when credit card apply get this rating, so it will pass all this first name, last name, number. Then number will come to the credit card rating, and from credit card rating, whenever it gets, it will check if it is greater than 5, it will check it is approved, otherwise it will mark it as a rejected. So that's the thing. Now let's try the application. So let's go to the terminal and run ambient clean install -d skip test. Intentionally I am not covering this JUnit because I was focusing on the code topics, but definitely I shall come with a new series on writing how to write JUnit for that. Or this particular inter microservice communication, I shall show you how to write JUnit with WebMock also. So let's do this one. Yes, it is up and running. Now we go back to our previous application and we try to hit this URL. We should get a response. Oh no, we are getting an internal server error. So that is, I made some mistake somewhere. Let me check what mistake I made. It looks fine. So 404 error. That means some problem here. So let's see. It looks fine. Okay, I figured out this issue. Can anyone pause this video and make me a comment what mistake I made before you proceed? Okay, if not, let's proceed. So here what happened, the controller package I kept outside the package where my main application class is. So Spring Boot will not recognize this one. So I need to move this controller package within the COM credit card rate, COM codetechies credit card rating. So it should be within our parent package. So what is our parent package? COM codetechies credit card rating, and within this our controller package should be. So lesson learned here is that if we create any package outside the package where the main application class is, in our case credit rating application, Spring Boot will not recognize those things. And this is the mistake that I made. Now let me start it. And it is up and running. So before we proceed, let's check it in the browser. What response? Yes, we are getting a response. It comes as 9. So let me go. Credit card rating controller looks fine, and yeah, things looks fine. And you can see the controller package is within the package where credit rating application is. And if we don't do it like that, Spring Boot will not recognize this one. So here you can see this one. So now let's clear all, go and send the request, and you can see we are getting the response. So yes, we are getting the right response now. Approved or rejected. It is approved now, rejected because it's randomly coming the number. Maybe again it will be approved. Yeah, it is like that. So let me do one thing. Let me run this one in debug mode also, and let me show you that how the control is going from one microservice to another microservice. Let me try to keep this thing both. Let me try to stop these services and restart this again in debug mode. So I first start the credit card apply in debug mode. Then let me go here and start credit rating application also in debug. Let me try to keep these two applications side by side. So that I can show it in a debug mode. And yeah, I think that should be fine. Let me clear all this. Okay, let me bring the credit rating on the other side. Now I set the breakpoint, and credit service also we set a breakpoint, and let's trigger it again. So you can see we are now in the credit card apply application, and we are about to make a REST call. After this proceed, see this call and control goes to credit rating application. So we are calling the credit rating application from credit card apply application. The credit rating response we get here, and we are again in the credit apply application, and based on the rating, whether it comes as whatever the value, based on that we are generating our response. So you can see rating has come 1, so it should be rejected. So this is how our inter microservice communication works, and we use REST template. You can explore REST template. There are many other options in the REST template where you can make post request also. You can set the timeout and other parameters using REST template. I shall cover that down the line. We shall also cover another one called apply. So we shall meet in the next session. Till then, see you. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.